All right, everybody. This is Dr. Shaw once again, and I wanted to come on today and talk about the storm that's coming. If you're in Dallas, if you're watching from somewhere else, Dallas is about to get hit with a storm this weekend. And it seems like all of us are about to be cocooned up. And with the storm that's coming this weekend, for some people, this is exactly what they've been waiting for. Right? They're gonna get their movies on, the coffee snacks. I know my wife is ready for a movie marathon, and honestly, it's gonna be a fun time. But for others, it's about to be quite a mental struggle. And if that's you, you know that every winter this pattern repeats itself. Because as the days start to get shorter and shorter, you're gonna watch that your motivation just starts to fade. Your energy starts to drop, emotions become unstable, the meltdowns in your children start to increase as well. The anxiety starts to spike, and overall, doctors call this seasonal affective disorder. They can explain how the reduced sunlight messes with brain chemistry and tell you to try a light box, maybe add another supplement, perhaps consider medication. But here's what they cannot explain. Why do some people handle fall and winter just fine while others are predictably struggling? And why does your child with autism or ADHD get noticeably worse every single year when the clocks just change? And why does one sibling thrive year round while the others battle the same seasonal decline? Because they all go through the same season, right? Because the answer isn't just about what's happening during the seasonal depression. It's about why certain nervous systems don't have the capacity to adapt when the seasons start to change. And that's exactly what we're going to be unpacking today, guys. So this video, it's really for people who are exhausted from watching themselves or their child struggle every fall and winter, who are tired of being told that it's just seasonal, and who are ready to understand the real neurological reason behind these predictable seasonal challenges. Because in this video, I have a lot of show notes and I kind of want to make sure that we go over all the spots. Because in this video, you are going to discover why seasonal depression isn't all about just sunshine deficiency. You're going to learn how the nervous system has what's called a reserve capacity, or the lack of it, which can determine who is going to struggle and who doesn't. So we're going to break down this perfect storm that's coming this weekend and in your nervous system that creates this vulnerability early in your life. And most importantly, you're going to see how restoring neurological resilience can help you or your child finally thrive year-round. Because here's what we see in our office every single fall and winter. Sleep starts to get worse, digestion starts to struggle, behavior challenges start to increase, meltdowns happen more frequently. The anxiety that seemed manageable in August becomes overwhelming by November. And this isn't just a coincidence, guys. It's not bad luck. People and children with these conditions predictably worsen every winter, because their nervous systems are already operating at max capacity year-round. So when winter hits and these seasonal transitions arrive, there's just simply nothing left in reserve. So here's what you really need to know about you and your kiddos. So here's the science part, right? There's something called the autonomic nervous system, which is basically what controls majority of what you don't have to think about, right? It's actually, honestly, what keeps us alive. So this autonomic nervous system itself operates kind of like a car with two pedals. We're going to give a car example because it seems like most people drive their cars. I mean, if your children are watching, they're obviously not driving cars. They might be behind your back, because I used to do that too. But that's a story for another time. So now, the car is going to operate like two gas pedals, right? You have the gas pedal, which is going to be your sympathetic nervous system. This is what activates your stress responses. While the brake pedal, the parasympathetic nervous system, is going to promote rest, recovery, and emotional balance. And a healthy nervous system is able to shift smoothly between these states, just like a good driver, right? It doesn't come to a halt and brake, right? You use the gas when challenges arise and engage the brake to rest, digest, sleep, and maintain calm. But some nervous systems are going to get stuck with the gas pedal pressed down and the brake pedal unable to engage. This is called sympathetic dominance, and it's not a choice to make, but something the nervous system is automatically doing. So I want you to think about it also kind of like a smartphone battery, right? Because we all, have phones. Now, a healthy battery it's going to handle your regular usage without really needing a recharge all the time, right? Whether you're watching videos, YouTube, TikTok, whatever you're doing, right? Because if the battery is operating just fine, it's not going to be an issue. But what happens to us in these seasonal changes that are occurring, it's going to require real adaptation work from the nervous system. Adjusting your circadian rhythm to new light patterns, maintaining neurotransmitter production despite the reduced sunlight, regulating temperature with the cold outside, and supporting our immune function during the so-called cold and flu season. Because if you have kids, you'll already know that around winter, their sleep just becomes perfect. Absolutely not. Winter sleep times are another struggle, right? Because if their nervous system is healthy, it will adapt balance automatically. You will notice that the shorter days that are coming, they don't feel as overwhelming. But if your nervous system is overwhelmed, seasonal transitions can become the breaking point where people can fall into what we call neurological exhaustion. Now, what is really important to note is that this nervous system vulnerability, it didn't just start this fall and winter, it actually began much earlier, often during the prenatal development, birth, and first years of life, because the prenatal stress is going to expose your developing nervous system to elevated cortisol, stress hormones, essentially programming your system to expect a stressful environment. And birth trauma added onto that from interventions like whether it's C-sections, forceps, vacuum extractions, or extended labor can create physical stress to the upper cervical spine and vagus nerve pathways. So these early childhood stressors, which eventually lead to things like colic, reflux, ear infections, antibiotics, you add stress from an already vulnerable system. The antibiotics that sometimes are unnecessary, sometimes they are, but sometimes those unnecessary dosages can disrupt your gut microbiome, which is going to directly affect your nervous system regulation. So if your child's been going through this the whole time, so by the time they reach ages 3 to 7, diagnostic labels start to emerge, because this is the time where the behavioral tendencies start to change, and that's typically when parents are starting to take them to doctors and then start getting these diagnostic labels. But the problem is, guys, that the nervous system dysfunction was there all along. The signs are just becoming more obvious as life demands increase and seasonal transitions expose what was already struggling. I suppose what I really want you guys to get from this is that the seasonal struggles aren't just about weakness, bad brain chemistry, or even the seasonal shift. They are a sign that the nervous system has lost its reserve capacity and resilience. The good news is the nervous system is designed to heal, recover, and regulate. So when people get regular neurologically focused chiropractic care, like the ones we offer at Inspire Chiropractic in many offices around the United States and the world, honestly, at this point, most families can't believe how much just a few adjustments can recharge their body's battery and restore that missing resilience. So if you want your family to stay healthy, energized, and thriving all winter long, click the link in our bio, send us a DM, schedule an appointment, schedule a consult at Inspire Chiropractic so we can make sure this winter is just different. All right, guys, well, that's all I have for y'all today. I hope everybody stays safe in the winter and we all just have a fantastic movie marathons.